Welcome to Rewind the Podcast. What up, everybody? Welcome back.
Up to you, New York, New York.
We're back.
We're back from NYC. We talk like this and we say, hey, I'm walking here. No, we don't. We
really
respect
don't.
the culture.
Yeah.
I'm going to just start by saying this.
Welcome back to another episode of Rewind the Podcast.
Starring Raven and Blake and producer Gabe. And we want to thank you so much for letting us go to New York last week. We did our thing. We've got a lot to tell you today about it. But first things first, obviously, thank you so much for letting us do that and supporting this podcast. Letting us.
I said my mama is in Birmingham. I love y'all so much, but y'all did not Venmo us for this trip.
Y'all did not. Y'all were kind of a reason we could go, but
that's true.
That's the real
That's the real tea.
But thank you for supporting us, and we've got some fun stuff involving that. But we are going to talk about it a little. First things first, I do want to say, I was at the tea place I like to go to, and I was just kind of like the other day, and my friend was like, "Do you have the Back from New York blues?" And I was like, "Is that a real thing?" And he was like, "Absolutely." And I was like, 100%. I was like, "I want to cry right now."
The depression. First of all. Not to make this about myself. I get back to work.
It's your podcast.
I mean, you were like talking about yourself, but now I'm like going to make it about myself. So the running joke at my job is that I'm like Hannah Montana. Because like I do this with y'all and like we do cool stuff. And then like I work a full-time job. And I get back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to tell everybody about my like time in New York. The moment I walked through the door, it was, this went wrong, that went wrong. I didn't like this. I didn't like that. Blah, blah, blah. I was like,
hold up.
I miss my Hannah Montana life.
Yes.
What are we, like, I was like, this is not what I signed up for.
You want to put the wig back on and go back in the closet.
Literally.
The dress-up closet.
It was so depressing. It was really hard.
It was. I got back. Now, granted, I got back. I had the ranch hands. I had my 2 shows this weekend. And then Sunday, I was just laying there. And I'm supposed to go to Chicago this week to see Beyonce. And I was like, I'm exhausted. And all I want to do right now is be at some little, like, bodega or boutique, like, just out there in New York City. I want to go to another Broadway show. And I was just, like, very sad. I just feel...
I know. So tell us, your first time in New York, how was that?
It was, like, a 15 out of 10. I always grew up thinking I would, like, move to L.A. and, like, live there and do the thing. I've only been to L.A. once. It was fine. I went to New York, and I always thought, like, oh, like, it's there. I'll go one day. And then I got there, and I was like, it was literally the Taylor Swift song come to life. Like, it's a new soundtrack.
You looked so happy. Y'all will see. He looked so happy. Okay, granted, I also really like New York.
Yeah.
I really like going to shows and, like, the food. I also really like comfort and convenience. And that is the part of New York that does not speak to me.
You mean when we were all 3 deep in a taxi with no AC, you weren't having a good time?
No, I was actually. That was my favorite part. The part I didn't like was walking 86 miles.
Oh, yeah.
To this, that, and the third. Like, I am a, like, get a taxi girl.
I will say I do enjoy the hustle and bustle, the walk of New York City. What I did not like, no tea, no shade over there, producer Gabe, was him saying, oh, it's just like 3 blocks. 33 minutes later and 45 blocks later, he's like, we've only got 3 more blocks left. And I was like, you're lying. You're a liar. You're a whore. Your mother's a whore.
I will literally fight you. Like,
yes.
You saw me so unhappy.
I've never seen Raven so unhappy until she went to Chinatown. Which we'll get into.
Soon to come.
Yeah, soon to come. So what should we tell them?
You tell them.
Oh, well, we're doing a little series. We've been working on something behind the scenes. At the end when I'm always like, we're working on new stuff, we finally got it together.
Yeah.
We are going to start doing a series of experiences.
Yeah, vlog style.
Yes, where we go and we do and we film and then you get to watch.
And the reason he is saying this like this is because we don't know the tape. We don't know the title yet.
Right before we hit record, we're like, what do we want to call it?
We're in the middle of like 3 or 4 options.
Creative differences.
But we would love suggestions.
Yeah.
So if you think of what would you name a vlog series with me and Blake going out in the world, new cities, trying new foods, new experiences, what would you call that?
by submitting a comment below, you do release all monies for this title if we get it. We love you so much. We will say that you gave us the idea, and we will see it from the rooftops. You will not get paid, and by commenting below, you acknowledge that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Because we do, listen, love y'all so much, and we would love to hear from you, and we will give you all the credit.
Yes. I like Blake and Raven be doing stuff.
I like we be doing stuff, which was a comment from Jordan Whitmore. He gave the I'm on that train. Gabe, what do you think?
Kind of indifferent. You'll see there's like a little theme song, and so the we be doing stuff.
Not you out there in the studio laying tracks down. Okay, I will say this: the one person who, as far as filming goes, y'all. We got a little Mari cameraman over here. He is missing his calling. He is supposed to be following baby daddies down the hallway because let me tell you what, I would look up at any given moment and he would be, let me see your phone. He'd be doing the. And the best part, and this is no shade, Gabe, the best part is he did a natural cameraman where he would just hang on a tick too long. So we'd be like, we absolutely love this play. We can't wait to see it. And Raven would be like, bruh!
Also, we would not have a vlog.
No.
If it was not for Gabe.
I packed all three of these cameras.
Blake did pull out one camera.
No.
And then I had an attitude every time I had to film something.
Yes, she did. On her iPhone XS.
So we're really grateful, and it actually is cute from what we've seen so far. So I think y'all will really like it.
Y'all will really like it. Okay, so let's talk about why we went there in the first place.
So we went there actually, no, let's talk about the shows first.
Oh, the little Broadway shows?
Not the little Broadway.
No, the big Broadway shows. It's up to you.
So we saw 3 shows. We saw Death Becomes Her. We saw Sunset Boulevard. And we saw Titanic. So rate them for me, your least favorite to your favorite.
Okay, now when I say least favorite, I need y'all to realize it's like the 45th floor of the Empire State Building to like the 48th floor.
And
like we're still way up there.
They were all fantastic.
Because we were so tired.
Oh, yeah.
We had ourselves a little bender. You'll see it on the video.
Yeah.
Sunset Boulevard was amazing. But because of the tiredness and the grumpy old people I was around this matinee, I'm going to rank it as 3rd.
Okay.
But if you are in Chicago, if you are in New York City, you have to see it because Nicole Scherzinger blew her out of the water.
It is, honestly, she deserves every award she is nominated for. Her voice transcended the facial expressions. Also, the show was just so cool.
Yes.
Like we gonna keep it a buck.
100.
It's loose.
Yes.
It ain't a lot going on.
It's very minimal.
It's minimal. But I don't want to spoil it, but the way that the show runs is very creative and very cool.
And very like modern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is also my number 3.
It's your number 3, Gabe. What about you? What was your number 3?
That is my number 3 as well. I will say if you are going to go, maybe do a little research. Like we went in blind, completely blind. And I feel like it did us a little bit of a disservice. I feel like if we would have known a little bit more, it would have. So maybe do some research or watch the original movie just so you know like the plot.
For sure. Act 1 was hard for me.
Yeah.
Act 1, I was like, wait, what's happening? But baby, Act 2.
Act 2, we were ready. Also, on behalf of Gabe, open your candy before you get into the theater.
Oh my gosh. We sat in front of some old biddies. Margaret. Is this your favorite part? This is my favorite part.
Oh, my favorite part is when someone said, hello, no, I'm in Sunset Boulevard. It's okay, you can keep talking.
Babe, I'm like, it was a matinee, which is an older crowd.
Old people, I'm sorry, I'm of the mind, old people don't get to do whatever they want just because they're old. I'm sorry.
It was wild, but the show was fantastic.
Yeah, and then the second thing, my number 2, I guess not the second thing. My number 2 was Titanic. So Titanic is not technically Broadway. Well, it's not Broadway. It's off Broadway. The auditorium was given like PS 118. Like we closed down the gym for the weekend, but it felt like that show could be on Broadway. Not like what?
No, I'm listening.
Oh, okay.
I'm stuck on the gym, but go ahead.
Oh yeah, it was like they like converted it, but it was amazing.
It was
this beautiful set. We were right up front. The show is essentially a parody of Titanic, featuring if Celine Dion was on the Titanic, and just funny and goofy. And after trying to really fight for our lives during Sunset Boulevard, it was a nice way to just like giggle.
For sure. The voices in this show, they are special. Every single person on that cast brought it. I was crying laughing at some points.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, big laughing. It was fantastic, and I think that they're coming to an end.
They are.
Like, I think we're getting to the end of their run. So if you can make it to New York to go and see the show, literally run, don't walk.
I believe the last date is June 25th, and they're bringing back the original cast for some of the final runs.
Oh, really?
So they are. Also, the guy who played Cal, you are the hottest person I know.
Oh my gosh, he was very, very attractive.
Beautiful and great voice.
Also, the Kyle Freeman, the voice.
The voice.
Out of control. And then the lead, Amber Adrolino, was the lead. Her voice.
Hilarious. Not her voice. She was hilarious. Her Sorry.
Her
we were on two different levels.
Her voice was spectacular. So crisp, so clear, hit every note, and she was hilarious.
She was hilarious.
Yeah.
And like I said, they play with the audience in this show, so it's not the traditional like sit there and watch. Like, it was so funny.
So funny.
Yes.
And then our number one.
Our number one, 1, 2, 3. Death Becomes Her. My first true Broadway show ever.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful. The
So good.
sets, the music, Michelle Williams, Paul Tazwell, who did the costumes for Wicked, decorated these costumes for Death Becomes Her
Not
on Broadway.
decorated. I don't think that's the right
Decorate,
word.
design. He designed.
I don't think that's
he
the-
designed them and he decorated them, and then he put his whole foot in them, because let me tell you what, those costumes were beautiful.
Gorgeous. Again, voices for days. Funny. So fun to watch. The best time. They got nominated for how many Tonys?
I think 11 Tonys, and well-deserved.
Crazy. Well-deserved.
The music was hilarious. Like, we were all in stitches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got to see Wicked.
I got to see Wicked. It was the first time I ever saw it on Broadway. It was amazing. I saw the first Black Elphaba.
Oh, yeah.
Tore it up.
Really?
Her voice was beautiful. The Glinda was hilarious. It was so cool. I know how the story ends, obviously, but it was so cool to watch it. Also, it was very funny to know in the second act who had only seen the movie and who had not, because I'm not going to reveal anything, but there are just moments where people you can hear like, or like, oh, like you would thought we were watching a soap opera.
This play is 20 years old.
Literally.
Where y'all been at?
And then there was one point where Elphaba and Glinda like have this exchange and something happened, and then there was like all these schools visiting this week, and I just hear like up in the mezzanine someone go, period. And I will say the difference between that and Titanic, the audience in hysterics from somebody screaming, the people kept going. Like, did not pause, did not even crack a smile.
Yeah, no.
It was wild.
I love that. Well, yes.
Oh, I also saw Mary. I did not get to see Cole Escola, but he was great. She was great. It was a girl industry.
So the reason we went to New York was for our attempt to go and be a part in whatever capacity of the Met Gala.
And Anna Wintour said, no.
Not only did Anna Wintour say no, God said no.
The Mother Nature also said no.
Because it rained. The first day we were there, it rained the entire day.
Hillary Duff, come clean.
And I was like, as much as I would love to see X, Y, and Z in their little outfits, I don't want to see them that bad to stand out in the rain for 3 hours.
Yeah,
It just couldn't be me.
And if you are watching and you're like, well, why didn't you just go anyway? That's like a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I'll tell you. We were following some people who were there at like the spectator section, and a couple hours before, they told all of them, they said, go home. They said, we're going to move you like 3 blocks down. It was covered by walls and trees. You couldn't see anything. And then I think even from there, they said, you can't even stand here. Go home. So we literally could not have gone.
Also, it's not a once in a lifetime. They'll be there next year, and so will we.
Yeah.
But okay, so back to the Met.
Yeah, let's talk about the Met.
Do you want to hear my favorite looks?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I'm going to give you my top 3 women and my top 3 men.
Okay, work. Let's talk about the style theme of the week or the year.
Okay, talk about it.
It was tailoring, made to fit, tailoring Black excellence.
Okay.
Something like that.
Super fine tailoring Black style.
That was basically what I said.
But it was, what was the, you know how there's like a theme and then wasn't it dandy? It's a celebration of Black dandyism is what it was.
I want to ask what Black dandyism is, but after I saw this TikTok that kept me up, that I'll wait for our What's on Your For You page moment, I will research it myself.
Hey, good for you. Google is free.
Google is free, and so is ChatGPT.
Okay, so let's talk. I'm going to start with the men.
Okay.
And then I'll go to the women. So, my number 3, Damson Idris.
Damson.
And Tommy Hilfiger. So I really liked because he's going to be in that new F1 movie.
Yeah. And
so it was like a race car themed. He looked fantastic. He's also just absolutely gorgeous.
He is. He's pretty man.
So I loved his look.
Yeah, we're gonna throw him up. Oh, nice. He's got a little helmet. That was cute.
Do you have any thoughts?
I'll let you go. I feel like that's a foreshadowing, but
okay. So my number 2 was Shabuzi and Robert won. First of all, we already know how I feel about Shabuzi.
A little crush on the Shabuzi.
He is so handsome. The color looked beautiful on him. He's always styled really well.
Truly.
He looked fantastic.
I wonder if he'll come out at Beyonce this weekend.
Wouldn't that be a treat?
That would be fun. Maybe in his Robert One. Oh.
Exactly. And he was styled by Anastasia Walker.
Okay, work. Come on, Anastasia.
I know. So he looked phenomenal. My number 1. Do you know who it is? He's always my number 1.
Damon Wade? No, not Damon Wade. The one who's married to Gabrielle Union.
Dwayne Wade!
Dwayne Wade!
Girl, no. It was Coleman
Domingo. I should have known. Coleman Domingo is so fine.
in Valentino.
Can you have a photo? Well, let's just throw it up. Oh, he looks so good.
You really want
I
to
could
see it.
eat him up. He just oozes confidence and sexuality, too.
Seriously.
Like,
and he wears the clothes.
yes.
Like, everything just falls so beautifully on his body. He never misses.
No.
Ever. Which I think he was the most on theme of everybody.
Tailored.
The dandy and the dandyism. Like,
Okay.
the look, I thought knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
In Valentino. Gorgeous.
Valentino.
Who's your number 1?
So my number 1 is Lewis Hamilton and Wales Boner.
Come on, Wales Boner.
Love that.
First off, gorgeous man, but also I'm more like muted with my style, and I think his is very like tailored, but also like demure.
Love that. What about you?
I really didn't see a lot of the men.
Okay.
I'll be honest. Coleman Domingo, he did it for me. I think this was probably the best year that men weren't just showing up in suits.
I agree.
We've joked about it in years past. Last year when they said what the theme was, I was very nervous we were going to get like white people in kente cloths, or we were going to do like someone's going to get canceled. Mm-hmm. So I was very happy that it was still. But I will say my unpopular opinion is I feel like a lot of people, namely white celebrities, were not very on theme.
See, I will say when it comes to the women, my number 3 was Sabrina Carpenter.
You know what? I will say this.
She looked phenomenal.
She looked phenomenal, and she looked like a little chocolate bunny.
Mm-hmm. And she was in Louis Vuitton. So she was my number 3.
Okay.
Sabrina Carpenter. I thought she looked stunning. I thought it was great for the theme. I thought the color was beautiful. And she was styled by Pharrell Williams.
Okay.
In Louis Vuitton.
Okay, work. She was styled by Pharrell? Wow.
Correct.
Okay.
My number 2... My number 2 is Zendaya.
Why did that felt like it had some like...
Well, because my number 1 and my number 2 are very close.
Oh, okay.
But I'm going to say my number 2 is Zendaya, obviously styled by Law Roach, was also in Louis Vuitton.
Yes.
Did you see the mess up with?
I did. Okay, so the other girl.
What's the tea?
So it was a little bit of a bitch stole my look moment.
Yes, I saw this. Anna Sawai.
Yes.
Sawai. Anna.
And the thing is the tea is that, from my understanding, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, the looks are approved.
Yeah.
Like by Anna Wintour prior.
Oh.
And so the tea was that Law Roach was in an interview and saw Anna walk in and was like, oh. And the tea is that like Anna knew that Zendaya was wearing a very similar outfit and that they both came in a very similar outfit. The reason she did not make my list is because I thought the styling and the tailoring of Zendaya's was much better.
Yeah.
In my very humble opinion.
I don't want to say like she has the body for it because I don't want to do like the whole body comparison, but like I like the way it sat.
Correct. And I don't think it's a body thing. I think it was a tailoring thing.
I'm not like, oh, Anna, get out of here, porker. Like, I'm not doing all that. But
yeah. No, and they both looked absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
My number one was Jodie Turner-Smith. She, first of all.
Throw a picture up. Oh, work.
She's beautiful.
Yes.
She looked phenomenal. She was my favorite of the night. Let me see who dressed her. Burberry.
They got a lot of those nice, like not silk, but you know what I'm talking about, like those like nice colors that just look expensive.
Very on theme. Color was perfect. She looked perfect. It gave Met. It it wasn't just like, oh, a nice tailored suit or like a cute little dress. Like it was gorgeous. So she was my number one.
Love that. What was yours?
Mine is Keke Palmer and Vera Wang.
Keke.
Oh, she looked beautiful.
I love when a woman can rock like a pantsuit.
Pantsuit.
Hillary rocks them all the time.
I love it. What about you?
I really like Sabrina Carpenter. She just kind of looked like she was going to do that. I'll be honest too. When we did not get in, I said I'm out.
Oh, so you were even engaged.
I really didn't. I was in New York. I was having fun. I was with my best friends.
Yeah.
And even now, I was like, I'll look at a couple outfits. Who else did I see? That Joey King girl.
Oh yeah.
People were really torn on her. A lot of I saw a lot of our. I was on Black Twitter. Hello. And some of them were like, I hate it when a bitch that I can't stand eats. And I was like, oh really?
I thought she looked great.
I thought she looked great too. I at first I didn't understand what was going on, but then I was like, I like the style.
No.
So
There was a lot of like division on whether people like enjoyed this year's Met or not, as far as like the looks were concerned. I thought it was a good Met.
Yeah, I can tell you they didn't enjoy the weather.
No, they didn't. But yeah, so next year we're going to go.
We're going to go.
We're going to be on the red carpet next year. Someone's going to invite us to, what's the word?
The Met Gala.
No, so
the
like
carpet.
someone's going to invite us to cover the carpet, and we'll give you a better up close look.
We're going to be like, Mindy Kaling, can you come here real quick? J-Lo, what are you wearing? Schiaparelli. I love it. Okay.
All right, moving on along.
I do want to talk to you about this.
Yeah.
You know who has really good robes now?
Oh, the Pope.
Goodbye.
We have our first American Pope. He's from Chicago. He goes to Portillo's. He enjoys a good White Sox or Chicago Cubs game. I don't know how the people in Chicago talk. I'll know after this weekend.
You will.
I will.
Okay, I was voting for the Filipino Pope. Mm-hmm. But
say like we're doing American Idol. 1866 Pope 03.
That is who I was voting for. But
yeah,
he didn't win. I am happy that it's an American, our first American Pope. How exciting.
After seeing Conclave, I wonder why.
That's a good point. I'm like,
is he embezzling?
What's the tea?
What's the tea?
I wish we had like a Pope Conclave insider.
Yeah.
I wish someone like captured it and we could watch it on TikTok.
So for the next conclave, whenever that may be, me and Raven are going to be on the red carpet.
Who are you wearing?
Who are you wearing? Oh, Catholic. Yes. I don't know.
But yes, I'm really excited. I hear that he's like a normal, decent human being.
Yeah. I saw on his first day, he already decried, he said he called for a ceasefire, and he decried AI.
What's decried mean?
Like, don't cry. I don't know what it means. He like decreed? No! I don't know. I don't know.
What are you?
DECRIED. Decried. I don't know. Put it in Google, Gabe.
No idea what you're talking. I've never heard someone say that in my life.
Decried AI.
Is this one of the things that you read it and then you didn't know how to say it and now you're saying it out loud and you don't know what you're talking about?
Look it up.
To criticize something as bad without value or unnecessary.
Okay, decried.
Thank you so much. I've been in New York. I know things now.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
He decried AI.
He decried. I have a feeling we're not saying that right, but I love that. I also hear that he is not a Trump fan or supporter. No. He's like very outspoken against how they be acting.
Like they said on Twitter X, to the tune of Pink Pony Club, woke Marxist Pope.
Pink Pony Club?
Pink Pony Club. Don't make fun of me. I'll decry you. Yes, woke Marxist Pope, they said. He's a woke Marxist Pope.
if these people met Jesus, they would literally die.
They would
or be dead.
No, they would have ice called on him is what they would do.
Literally.
That's the real tea, but we're not going to get into that right now.
But yeah, so congratulations to Pope France.
No, it's not Pope. It's Pope Leo.
Pope Leo the 14th.
I don't know Roman numerals.
We don't know our Roman numerals. I think
The
he's
13th.
the
13th is the 13th.
So congratulations. Do you congratulate the Pope?
Yeah.
Congratulations to all of the Catholics and to Pope Leo the 13th.
Leo the 13th. Did you know in 6th grade I tried to go by Leo for a little bit?
Blake, I don't have time for this.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
Okay. Moving on along.
Okay, so I do also want to talk to you about this. Did you watch Summer House?
Is that what we're doing?
Speaking of religious, what about that pastor?
Oh.
Thank you. That was good. Y'all, the Segway Award goes to Producer Gay.
Producer Gay.
He really be pushing this thing along. Okay.
Yeah.
So speaking of religious, have you seen the clips from Dear Future Wifey, the podcast, where them pastors was on there? And that man basically called that lady everything but a child of God, said she was ugly, didn't like her, she too black, too fat, too this, too that. She ironed his clothes to go see the side chick.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, is it the iron clothes lady or the tattoo guy?
Who's the tattoo guy?
Apparently there was like a tattoo guy and his first wife died and he got a second wife and he was like, I'm going to let you know I'm going to get a tattoo.
That's a different
and she was like, I'll support you. And it's like, why are we humiliating women?
No, that's a different guy.
Okay.
So these people are pastors of a church. And I'm not going to say their name in case they got a pastor. I know people get very protective of their pastors, but it's out there.
Yeah. Which reminds me, I'm going to hold it, but I do have a question about pastoring in the Black church, but this for later.
Okay. So they were on Dear Future Wifey, which is a podcast. Basically, the overarching thing about this podcast is this gentleman who is the creator of the podcast was not a very good husband, was divorced, cheated on his wife, and wanted to like sit down with couples to like learn about like the way to be like a good husband for his next partner.
You could also go to therapy.
Which we're going to get there. And he has.
Okay.
He has.
I just say this as someone who has one. Not everybody needs one of these.
Yeah, and that's part of the conversation. So, and I will say, in his defense, he does not only have dysfunctional couples on his podcast.
Yeah.
Kev on Stage and Miss Kev on Stage have been on his podcast. He's had a lot of couples who are very healthy and functional, but those don't ever go viral.
I was going to say, looking into this, because I do know what you're talking about, I will say a lot of people have given the argument of like, we pump up the crazy.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
In the words of Hannah Montana, we pump up the party.
Yes. So this pastor and his wife, who's also a pastor, go on this podcast talking about their relationship in the early years. They met when they were teenagers, got married very young, and the first few years of their marriage was very, a lot of turmoil. Some would call abusive.
Yeah.
He started by saying, she's not my type. She's not my preference. She's too dark-skinned. I don't typically like darker-skinned women. I usually like girls who are 120 pounds. She was 175. That's how we started the thing, with his wife sitting there.
Just
Then goes on to say how he cheated on her for years in the beginning of their marriage. Her stance was, God gave me the grace for him to stay in this marriage, and that God gave her the inspiration to iron the clothes for him, even though she knew that he was going off to sleep with other women. Thoughts?
Okay, in absolute truth, our deconstruction girlies out there, yada, yada, yada. I grew up in a church where there were maybe Sunday specials where we had people like this in. Whether it's this, a marriage, somebody who was like, I'm not a gay anymore, anything like that. And it was like, I loved them through their sin. So the initial jerk of me was like, I get it, in all honesty.
Okay.
When I had some time to think about it, I was like, girl, what? Like, what are we doing? You're ironing his clothes so he can go cheat. Also, if we're going to go biblical real quick, we're going to go deep, we're going to go quick. I know there's all the verses and things like that too, which is the whole reason in Christianity we have a Savior. While we were still sinners, Jesus loved us and did what he did.
Correct.
But With that being said, that was Jesus. That was not me.
My name Raven.
My name is Blake Tillman Rackley. Take the T out, But also the grace, if she says the grace is on, okay, I guess whatever. But God does not, and I saw this in the TikTok you sent, God does not bless mess like that. It says in the Bible, the one thing that can get you out of a marriage is infidelity. So you had your one-way ticket to a better life, and I think you wanted to say, like, I've made it through the wilderness. So that is my T.
I love that, and I completely agree.
I'm
going to start by saying Black women in particular.
Oh, this is not my business.
Girls, ladies, women. You are worth so much more than this struggle, love. Baby, don't let these men drag you to the ground and back. For a man, ew. Like, all of that for a man, get out of here. Mm-hmm. I have so many thoughts. The first one being, the fact that man sat there in front of God, the gentleman, the podcast, his wife, and all of us, and told us how he was not attracted to his wife. Why on earth would you publicly humiliate your wife and call her unattractive?
Because it's not public communication, it's a testimony. We're just telling our testimony.
And that is literally what they were saying. And I'm like, he does not like you. Then they're laughing and joking about the reason he kept coming back was because they had kids together and she fed him.
Mm-hmm. Also, let's talk about this. This many years later, if there has been a redemption arc, why do you very specifically remember the exact things you did not like? I wanted 120, she was 175. I didn't like dark-skinned girls. It sounds like you, in some reference, I don't know, allegedly, you might still be holding on to that.
And my thing, too, was they came back and made the point of, like, this was before we were saved. This was before, like, this was the beginning of our relationship. We were very young. And I hear you and I get it. And God bless them and their marriage. They've been married for, like, over 30 years at this point. And I love that for them. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have made it.
I don't think I would have either.
I wouldn't have made it.
Also, I did see a comment that said this: if the role was flipped, he would have been out of there like that.
100%. And that is my beef with the man who do this podcast. That's my beef a little bit with Laterris Whitfield.
Okay.
Where are the stories about the woman dragging her man to hell and he stayed and God gave him the grace? Mm-hmm. We never
steam in the dress.
We never hear that testimony about how the woman acted a fool, slept with everybody she knew, had baby after baby about other people. We never hear that story. Mm-mm.
Because we call them a Jezebel and send them out the door.
And because men know their worth.
Or they're delusional enough to believe they know their worth.
As a person, you should have that level of respect for yourself to say, I'm not going to put up with this. And men don't have, whatever it is, they don't have it. And they're not here for it. And I don't blame them. You shouldn't be.
Well, this goes into a bigger conversation. Are women taught that from a young age? I would say yes.
Of course, that you be nice and you be polite and you sit down and you take it.
And you stay.
And my thing is like, God don't want your man cheating on you. I'm sorry.
No.
Or beating you. And I know, like, people always say, like you just said about the infidelity scripture, which is true. And I get it and believe it and receive it and do what you do. If a man is beating on you, leave.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with that.
What are we doing?
I was going, I knew, and I know what you were doing, but I was going specifically, if there's somebody out there who's like, I only follow scripture, well, if that man cheats, bye-bye.
If the man is mentally abusing you, leave.
Also, my question is, if they weren't saved at the time when all this was happening, why was she saying God was giving her the grace to do it if she didn't even know what grace was? That's a whole different story.
I think she's from her experience.
Like hindsight?
Yes, hindsight is saying like that's what God gave her the grace to do. Mm-hmm. And maybe she was saved and he wasn't. I don't know them people. But my thing is, I am so tired of these women being okay, being publicly humiliated. And they was big laughing, big gums, teeth is all out.
You can see the back cavities.
I'm like, what ain't funny? So they did have a doctor on. They did a live. Mm-hmm. Because these people currently have a congregation. Yeah. These people are currently leading people in a church. So they did do a live and they had a licensed therapist who's a doctor have the conversation. And as a black woman, she was not playing the radio with them. She was like, No, baby, that was abuse.
Yeah.
Let's call it what it is. He mentally, emotionally abused you, and it is not okay.
Yeah.
Also, another big part of it was that she was, like, the guy asked her, like, you know, what do you say to the women who are looking at you saying, you know, why would you stay?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would you put up with this? And this, I almost called it later heifer. This woman said, that's somebody pastor. This woman said, and that's why y'all single.
Wait, what?
He asked her, what do you say to the women who will see this and question you and say, why would you stay? That's why y'all single. That's why y'all don't have a man, because y'all want a man who's already put together and...
Oh, hell no. Stay single. Spend the money. Go to New York City. See Wicked and Death Becomes Her. Do not listen to that. What the... I almost called her heifer too.
The doctor was like, being single is not a punishment.
No.
And being single is not a crime.
Yes. Also,
And then, of course, she backpedals and it's like, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. That's what you said, though.
yeah. And also, if you are out there and you are a spiritual person, now I can only speak from the realm of Christianity because I don't do the other religions. Being single does not mean God is mad at you or you do not have a calling on your life.
It's probably a blessing.
It literally is, because the last thing you want to do is wash some man's stanky underwear.
Not only that, but a man who is demeaning, degrading, and disrespecting you on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. And you have children with, this is the father of your children. Mm-hmm. Could never be me. I'm happy for them. It seems like they have overcome based on what they're telling us. They said they've told this story many a times. It's never gotten this type of reaction. But the callousness in which he was speaking about his wife while she was in the same room could literally never be me.
Well, it makes me want to ask you, so is it the actual testimony, air quotes, I'm saying that if you're listening, testimony they're giving, or is it his approach to it?
I think it's both. You mean that what's offensive?
Yeah, like, do you think, like, you could hear this story maybe from people who aren't doing Big Laugh, and they were like, no, this was our story, and you could be like, oh, I totally get that.
100%.
Okay.
Had he sat there and said, the way that I treated her was so disrespectful. I was an abuser. Mm-hmm. I was broken and weak, and I found my validation by sleeping with other women. I mistreated her, and by the grace of God,
that part,
she chose to stay with me and work with me through my troubles. Yeah. And our marriage is stronger on the other side. Now, I would have accepted that.
Instead, it was like, I ironed his clothes while he called me oinker.
Exactly, because that is like, okay, if that's what you choose to do, and who am I to tell you what God called you to do and not to do? That ain't my business. But if we're doing this in a testimony way, that is how you tell your testimony. You don't throw your head back and laugh because he was cheating on you repeatedly and had so little respect for you that you knew he was going to cheat on you. Mm-hmm.
It also is dangerous because, like you said, they are pastors of a congregation. I do not know how big or how small. Big. But if they look up to you, then you are also telling those people, I went through this, so if you are going through the same thing, it's okay if you go through it the exact same way.
And I will say that the wife, she did own it. And honestly, respectfully, she, of course, was the most accountable in the live with the doctor.
Doesn't shock me.
She was like, I realized that, like, the way that I was speaking about this, like, from where I am now, we can laugh, we can whatever, giggle, whatever, still beyond me. She was like, but there are women who are experiencing this currently who look at this and it hurts them. Yeah. And I can see why it hurts them, and I should have spoken about it differently. Yeah. But she was full on defending him and saying, like, that's just how we talk to each other. Like, that's just how we joke about each other. We rib each other, blah, 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 blah. Mm-mm. When you have gotten used to abuse and that level of, like, legit, I don't think he liked her like that. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the only way you could laugh at something like that, because it's normal. He's used to her talk. He's used to her speak. She's used to him speaking to her that way. Mm-hmm.
So it's become
normal.
Are you saying it's almost like a Stockholm syndrome? Like, we
100%.
gotta laugh at it now.
Yeah. It was so disturbing. I will say, like I said, it makes me feel bad for Latarius in the way that, like, I think his intentions were pure, and he doesn't know these people's full stories before they come on the show.
Yeah.
And I get the nervous laughter. I get the like, oh, y'all laughing, so I guess I'm gonna laugh too. Like if you, whatever. And he did own up to the fact that like in the moment he should have said, that was abusive. This is not okay. They should have had a place for people to go, to talk about it. Like a lot of things should have happened that didn't happen. And it was a learning experience for him. And he's committed to doing better.
I was going to say, do you think he could take a few lessons from Oprah, being like, let's ask the hard questions in the interview?
100%.
You know,
but he lets people tell their story,
yeah.
And that is how he runs his platform, and that's fine, yeah. And that's fine. But I think when you get into the territory where things are dangerous and it's not kiki fun pop culture, like then you have a responsibility to call a thing a thing.
Yeah, we haven't had that on our. We haven't had really guests on our podcast, but I just feel like if you were to ever have your own platform and this was a story somebody was telling, and you didn't know anything before it came in, I just feel like you might be like, and at what point did you realize that was abuse? And it might make the interview like, ooh.
And seriously,
producer Dave back there.
and what was it about you that was so broken that you would allow someone to treat you that way? Mm-hmm. Like, let's unpack this. Mm-hmm. If we unpack it and this is our testimony, let's get down to it. Mm-hmm. It's not funny. It's not a joke. And how did you overcome? Yeah. Like, what did you do to build your own self-esteem and self-worth to be in a place to say, I can walk away?
Yeah. And the thing so I will say the big takeaway I have from this podcast and things like that is, I mean, obviously, like you spoke to Black women and
hey girls
and our audience, and obviously know your worth, know your value. The thing that gets me heated as well is that these are pastors, and I know we've privately had all about like if you work in the church and all that kind of thing, but that is the part that makes me the maddest. And I said, I had a question earlier, and to our Black audience, I love you, and I'm asking because I'm curious. I don't necessarily know about this, and this is not a thing necessarily in the evangelical church or maybe the white church, but like in the Black church, you refer to the pastor and their wife as the first man and the first lady.
Or the pastor and the first lady.
Pastor and the first lady. Do you think?
Just ask.
I'm just like.
We'll get there.
I know. Is it good to give people, even if they are pastors, that big of a platform, no matter how big or small their church may be?
I don't understand the question.
Like, growing up in my church, it was like Pastor Patrick, but he's like, call me Patrick. But I feel like there's like there truly is almost like for lack of a better term, like a monarchy sometimes in the Black church where it's like, oh, that's the pastor and the first lady, and you do not correct them at all. And it's like, no, they are not beyond correction just because they lead the church.
Correct.
So that I don't know. Like, do you feel like maybe someone even in their church is trying to be like, well, maybe you shouldn't tell the story, and they're like, you don't tell us what to do?
No, I don't know. Honestly, I do think that there is,
and I do think that's more of a cultural thing.
I better say we about to go there, and we're gonna come back. This is where we're gonna start. Okay. So the Black church in general for Black people has not always historically just been about faith and religion, right? Okay. When you're thinking about the civil rights movement, you're thinking about all that, like all of that started in the church, okay? Also, it is not uncommon for pastors, especially in the Black church, for it to be a family business and it to be passed down. Your dad's a pastor, your grandpa was a pastor. None of these people went to seminary. Respectfully.
Okay. They just felt the call of God.
Exactly. They felt the call of God, and they get up there and they say their thing and they do their thing. And I think because so much of our world and our view is built around church, that's where you go. When it was a time where we did not have access to therapy, doctors, that church was that. Yeah. That is where you got all of your things. And I always say, like, the difference between Black church and white church, from my perspective, when you're a white church, it's very much about scripture and how Paul felt and what Saul said and the underlying meaning of what was happening culturally in the time.
And how Toy Story relates to God now.
Black church, when it's dogs getting sick on you and you can't drink from a certain water fountain, you need God the Savior, right? As much as we love the good scriptural, I can't pay my bills. I gotta worry about the police shooting my child in the street. Like, we love scripture, but you're going there. That is your pick-me-up. That is your inspiration. That is what's getting you from Sunday to Sunday.
Yeah.
Is that time. And so when you have somebody speaking life, speaking joy, talking about the goodness of God, and you're in a place of despair, that person does become a beacon in the community. That person does become the person you go to with all your problems. That is your therapist.
Yeah.
That is your doctor. That is there is so much respect in that position. And I think the problem comes in when, one, these pastors can be very opinion-based and not scripturally based, and they're human.
Yeah.
And they get too big for their britches.
Yeah. And again, like, there are many things like, and granted, we started talking about this topic today, so I didn't necessarily research it. I know I'm very capable of doing that research on my own, so thank you for explaining that to me. But I do like that because obviously growing up in the white church, it is like, oh, I could read my Bible more, and like it's all of that, but we don't come from a place of like we have to almost be convinced we need a savior.
Respectfully,
when
the world is built for your comfort, why do you need a savior?
At T.
You know, I don't know.
Well, even from a political standpoint, you know, I've worked in politics, and like in white church, they're like, we keep the politics out of it, unless, you know, now people are getting crazy.
Yeah.
But like even political figures, they will go to predominantly black churches and be like, here's why you should vote for me. Like the people I worked for, like they did that, but rarely did they darken the door of a white church.
Correct.
So
because, like I said, before you went on marches, people met at the church. You have community meetings at the church. Like that is where everybody went. And the separation of church and state, respectfully, has never been the black experience.
It's together.
It's together. Like that is a part. Like that's why there's so many black Republicans, especially old people. And don't even get me started on it. But you know, like that.
And you said you didn't want to make it a 2-hour episode.
But yeah, I think it's disheartening. I think we're getting better as a community. I think that deconstruction from a black church perspective is very different from the deconstruction I see on TikTok with mostly white people.
Why do we have $1 million Christmas pie?
And I honestly, because I will say I see a lot more white young people leaving the church, leaving the faith altogether. Like I think a lot of black millennials, Gen Zers who don't frequently go to church but still identify as Christian.
Yeah.
Where I feel like a lot of younger white people are like, oh no, I'm no longer.
Yeah, they're like, this is all a wash.
Anything.
Like, that kind of thing.
So
I do. Yeah. Oh, that could be a whole
other thing.
whole episode.
But I will say, this is what I was going to talk about on my For You page. But since we're here, I'm just going to go ahead and spit it out. On my For You page, I've been seeing a lot of like calling out of pastors.
Okay.
That's been up and down my For You page.
And I support it.
Why he doing this? Why he doing that? Why? One in particular is a pastor that I've really enjoyed. I went to Oklahoma City. Tulsa, Oklahoma.
There's 2 big cities there. You're going to get 50-50
I went to Oklahoma
chance.
City, drove from Oklahoma City to Tulsa to go to Transformation Church to see Mike Todd preach.
Is he the one getting called out?
Girl, all up and down.
Round and round.
My timeline. And now there's a new pastor, and I can't remember his name, that the line is wrapped around.
It's the one in Atlanta. It's like church like 718
yes!
or 413 or something like that. It's a combination of numbers.
Yes! And everyone's obsessed with him. And it's this like, we build you up and bring you down. It's the same like American pop culture kind of thing that we're doing with these pastors. I will say Mike Todd's relationship goals, that sermon series changed my life, changed the way I looked at relationships, changed the way I did relationships. It was such a great calling. He had several series that really spoke to me. So I'm never going to like him, obviously, publicly or privately, because I also never met him like that. But I think when you get to the point where things get so big, it's like, how do you pull back? It's like once you've done, the biggest, you've moved into this auditorium, this arena, and it's like, it just keeps, like, there is nowhere to go until it becomes like
a business
and a show.
Yeah.
Just a huge production and show. And it is just wild that like all of this is happening at the same time. And people are really like putting a spotlight on these pastors.
Do you think it's black pastors in general or just pastors in overall?
I think black pastors get a worse rap.
Shocking.
Yeah.
But yeah. Meanwhile, Joel Osteen's like, he didn't need to open up the hurricane relief. He had his reasons.
Correct. I feel like especially young black men pastors, it's like we build them up so to where they are just it and they're everything, and then we rip them to shreds. And it is really disheartening. And like I said, I don't know him personally. He could be an awful person. I don't know. He seems like a lovely man. He has a lovely wife and kids, and they have become more Hollywood. You know, I'm just gonna say they nigga rich. They got the teeth done. They, everybody's skinty. They look good. And I think it's just a different vibe.
This is a whole different podcast because, I have big opinions on the Hollywoodization of celebrity pastors.
And we disagree.
And we do disagree.
Yeah.
And big, heated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another time. Okay, what's our next topic, Gabe? Give us one of them little segues.
You know who has become too big for his britches? Jesse Solomon.
Jesse Solomon.
You were really good at this.
Well, we went on for 45 minutes. He probably came up with 7.
Okay. On a lighter note. Now, did you watch?
This is going to make me sound like 4 weeks ago, but I was in New York.
We were there too.
I know, but I didn't watch it. I was there longer. I saw Wicked.
You were there 12 hours longer than us.
And then I had to
Not even that, because we were in the fucking airplane.
We sat on the tarmac once we got back to Nashville for a solid hour.
That happened to me when we came back from Tampa. It wasn't as long, but remember we were just sitting there.
Maybe it's me. And then the pilot was like, well, there ain't nobody at the gate to get us, so we just gonna be sitting here. Like, he was like, I want to go home too. I was playing games on my phone, so.
See that? Oh, that's where I start getting stressed out. American Airlines do better.
Yeah, except for don't, because I'm a executive member and I want them to sponsor us.
Okay, well, if you're going to spin around in the clouds for 3 hours and not let us know why we're spinning around, you deserve to be called out a little bit.
Okay. So the episode before, big beef.
At the pajama party.
Exactly, whatever. So at the end of the episode, they go to the beach for Lexi and Gabby's party. You know how they do a party every weekend. And Jesse comes up to Ciara and he's like, hey, I want to talk to you privately. So they go off.
With 3 cameras.
Correct. So they go off on their own to have this conversation. And he's like, I'm sorry. I didn't try to hurt you. I'm taking accountability for the things I said and what I did. And she did not let up.
She said, let me tell you what.
At all. She was like, I'm over you. I think you suck. I don't care about your relationship like that. Do what's good for you, but leave me out of it. It was so good to see her stand up for herself like that.
In her power.
Yes. Also, Gabe, the part that killed me, Jesse, Paige, and Amanda were in bed, talking things out, because he's reeling over the fact that Ciara won't speak to him. He is sick about it. So he goes to the girls for advice, and he's like, okay, so how do I get her to talk to me, and blah, blah, blah. And they were like, no, Jesse, we thought y'all were going to hook up. Craig was certain that y'all were going to hook up. And Amanda was like, I literally thought, they might not, be together, but something's going to happen.
Yeah.
And he goes, did Ciara think that? And they were both like, oh, ew, no. His face, he looked so disappointed.
I mean, yeah.
Crushed. I was like, you have a crush on her. And that's okay.
And I think this is where the issue of lip liner.
Lexi.
Not lip
liner.
Lip liner Lexi. I think she has a problem with Ciara, or her issue with Ciara is jealousy and the fact that if Jesse had his way, he would be with Ciara 10 times over. And the only reason he is not is because Ciara doesn't want him. If Ciara was be my boyfriend, Jesse would drop Lexi and go straight to her. And I think that is where all of this is coming from.
100%. Not to make this heavy, but me and my homegirl Trinity was having this conversation. And I don't think Lexi knows this subconsciously, and because she really does seem like a nice girl. So I really don't want to drag her all the way down on this little show. A little bit of it, I think, is
it giving racist?
It's giving a little racist. And not like I'm not saying Lexi's a racist. I want to be very clear. But it has a little tinge of, how dare you, how am I not the prize in this situation? Like, how could you look at this chocolate woman and prefer her over me?
It's very simple, I'll tell you.
And I do not think it is like a conscious racist thing. I think it's like a conditioning kind of thing to where it is eating her alive that she is not the preference.
And I think that her whole life, she has been the star. I mean, her family worships her, and she's gotten anything she wanted. She's dated celebrities, and now she has this man who's not a celebrity. Like, she's dated very famous people.
Drake.
And yeah.
She dated Drake?
Beckham.
You bet you like him young, don't you? And
That's so true. He is much older than her.
Yeah. And now that she can't even get Jesse Solomon, that's eating her up.
Eating her alive. Poor Lexi.
Yeah.
But I will say, Jesse.
Boy.
I like Jesse. He played this totally wrong. Mm-hmm. Instead of just being like, hey, I like her, she's my friend, like, yeah, I'm flirty, yeah. Like, I fully believe that he was in Lexi's ear being like, no, she touches me, like, she like me, like, she have a crush on me. No, she doesn't.
She don't like you like that.
Also, honestly, she might think he's cute and might have hooked up with him, but it's too messy now because of West. It's way too messy. I think this would be her third, fourth situation with somebody in the house.
Hey.
Like, she's not going to...
I support it.
I would have... That's what I told Trinity. I said...
They would have been running a train on me.
Okay. That's not what
They said, toot, toot, I think I can, okay? Starting first, and the caboose would also be Carl.
Oh, love Carl.
Yes, which I have a question about him, so...
My thing is, she's better than me. Because had West done me the way he did her, I would have his homeboy. 100%.
With the door open and said, I'm sorry you walked in on us.
Out of pure petty, I would have been like, oh, you don't want me? I'm homeboy.
Yeah.
That's just what we're doing.
Props to Kyle, because he consistently sticks up for Ciara, and it makes me so happy because they were all at their little dinner, and what's his face started running his mouth, and Kyle was like, no, you're in the wrong. And guess who shut down? Jesse Solomon.
And it was so sweet of him to do that. Also, let's talk about this dinner. Justice for Ciara. Because she can't do anything without it being an issue. Okay, so backstory, since you don't watch.
I didn't watch 1 week.
So Ciara and West, had this whole relationship. They break up. He does an interview in like the New York Times saying like, oh, it just didn't work out, but like I really didn't like her like that, basically was like the sentiment. And that like it wasn't that serious. He was playing the like, oh, it wasn't that serious card. She'd met his family, she they traveled together, they went to weddings together, whatever. So his friend had recently, it was the 1-year anniversary of his friend's passing. And Lexi brings it up at dinner. And he's like, I'm not good at like communicating my feelings, and it's like really hard, and I'm trying to like navigate this or whatever. And he's like, the night that it happened, I called Ciara and went over to her house and cried in her bed for 2 hours. And you can just see Ciara's face, like she just deflates. She looks like she's gonna cry at the table. So she gets up and she leaves. Doesn't make a big scene, but just like grabs her purse and walks away. I think because she was upset thinking about the relationship they had and the friendship they had, and instead of getting emotional at the table and making it about her, she chose to remove herself. The internet, dragging her. Way to make that about yourself, Ciara. Way to like completely like ruin his moment. She was damned if she did, and she was damned if she didn't.
Let me tell you something I've learned about the internet this very week alone, is the internet is not a real place.
No.
It's not. And and this is going to sound so like bunny trail. This like online hate Benson Boone is getting. Because all he does is backflips. And then he put a tour up sold out in 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
The internet is not real.
The same with Chris Brown.
Have your opinions, and some of them are very much right, in my opinion. But I just like it. Don't read the comments. Don't read the comments.
But people were like, just like going in on her, and I'm like, as a person who would rather pull out my eyelashes one by one than cry, one on camera, two in front of a man that did me dirty and low-key like tried to embarrass me in front of everybody, I would have run away.
Well, I will say this. Don't give too much hate to crying on camera, because that's the reason Hannah Berner knows who we are now.
Okay, first of all, sorry, I screamed to y'all ear. First of all, I know that's not hate. I'm saying me. Like, I'm not saying that that's a good thing that I'm that way. I'm just saying I can relate to her in that way, because that is like literally the last thing I ever want to do. The vulnerability hangover from crying in front of people literally will send me to the end.
Okay.
Hannah Berner.
Hannah Berner.
Our friend Hannah Berner. Okay. Talking speaking of crying, I cried.
You did.
In New York, because we're
drunk in a bunk bed.
Literally, we're in New York having the best time, giggling, gossiping. Blake comes in and he's like, y'all, Hannah Berner just commented on our TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And
we were talking about Giggly Squad, How to Giggle, the book.
How to Giggle, in our clip. And I was talking about how I'm the string and you're the kite. And she was like, I'm crying in the club too. And she was like, be an effing kite.
And Raven did not believe, because I was like, she commented.
I thought you were doing a bit, because you always doing a bit.
I love to do.
Not only did she comment twice, she reposted us. Mm-hmm. So basically, I am friends with Hannah Berner. Mm-hmm. I am the third host of the Giggly Squad. Those are my sisters.
This is actually a cast announcement. Guess who's going to be on Summer House season 45?
I know Hannah Berner.
Yeah.
Thank you. Also, I watched the first episode of their Hannah and Paige Try New Things.
Try Witchcraft, Dark-Sided.
So good. Okay, as a Christian, I know we're not supposed to. I would love to do something like that.
What did they go to? Go see a medium?
I think so.
Yeah.
The stuff that she was telling them, I was like,
reading them down boots.
My gosh, it was so good. The reason I get weird about that kind of stuff is like, I don't want nobody speaking nothing over my life who don't have the authority to speak nothing over my life. Mm-hmm. But as like a fun kiki moment, mm-hmm. I'm on board.
Yeah, I will say, because I take the spiritual world very seriously. And I know we do have people out there who are practicing like Wiccans or like get into tarot and things like that.
Love that for you.
Spiritual people, and Gabe is one of them.
Yeah.
But I will say I grew up very like, do not taste, do not touch, do not smell, mm-hmm. all that kind of stuff. But at the same time too, it does, I'm like, the fun of like, oh, let's go see this random person and they can say whatever they want over my life. And because there's people who do cold reads and things like that, and it's very what's the word? Fraud. It's like it's
giving fraudulent.
Yeah, there's people who can ask, they ask the right enough questions that it can make it seem like you're actually getting a reading.
Correct.
And then there's people who can truly like get you up and down.
Yeah.
And so I agree with you. It's like, I'm not going to give somebody my palm or cards or whatever, and they're just doing it to make a quick buck, and then suddenly I'm like declaring that and claiming that over I'm not going to do all that. So that's the real tea.
That is how I feel, but like on another level, how fun. Like what a good time.
What a good time.
I just get so scared. Remember when all of our friends was singing that Psychic here in Nashville?
No.
Everyone saw her. You don't remember this?
Oh, the one that our
mm-hmm.
old like trainer was like, "Oh, go see him,"
Mm-hmm.
and they said Gabe was going to be a real estate agent.
Correct. He did start a business. But
it has nothing to do with houses. Not making fun of the spiritual world.
What did she say about you?
She said I would date Anthony. She said that I was meant for like a creative career. And then she like brought up my dead grandma.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Anna.
When everybody was seeing her, my thing with her was like, not telehealth psychic.
I had a friend who saw.
I feel like you got to be in a room with me to know what's going on.
I had a friend who saw a psychic over Oktoberfest, and she was like, "Hey, I'm about to go on a lunch break, so like just write down your name and number, and I'll text you when I'm back from lunch, and you can come."
So she can find her on Instagram?
That's exactly what I said. He was like, she knew everything about me. She knew I did this, 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 and this. And I was like, and how long was this gone? He was like 30 minutes. And I was like, enough to Google somebody.
Exactly.
You're not exactly.
I would have put a fake name.
I would. Yeah, my name.
Marie Claire.
No, Dixie Normus. And this is my girl, Seymour Butts.
But yeah, I would love to see one, but I like gotta know that they're legit.
Yeah.
You know, like who I would see? We gonna be here all night. Remember how I said everybody shut the hell up because it's gonna be a long episode. I'm the one talking.
Our episode was only 30 minutes last week, so I guess we gotta give you a little something.
Tyler Henry, I would go to him in a second.
Oh, the medium, the celebrity medium?
100%.
And see, that is where I'm like, I believe I'm spiritual in God, not necessarily like the Jesus Bible version of God, but like I feel like everyone has gifts.
I would have had holy water to throw on you, but go ahead.
What do you mean?
Talk about you don't believe in Jesus.
I believe he was a man.
Gabriel, not get into this. Say what you gonna say.
I'm saying I feel like everyone has spiritual gifts and they're not evil. It's how you use them. Like if you're over here trying to contact the devil, then that's different than you like into your spirit yourself. You are a spirit.
Correct.
So I feel like we do have a connection to something.
I think so too, and I think some people really do have a spiritual gift. My thing is because you know I got the sight.
That's a whole different episode too, but Raven's got the sight.
And I be scared because I'm like, I don't want to know. Keep me out of it. Because I don't want no dark stuff coming. I only want the sight when it comes to the light, child. I don't want the door to be open, and that may sound ignorant. I don't know.
Do you get a little bit of both? Light and dark, or have you only got light and pretty much?
No, I've gotten light and dark.
Oh, gosh. See, when I was younger, I went to a camp, and we learned about spiritual gifts, and there was one that they called a word of knowledge, and it's like you just be knowing stuff about people. And I got it mixed up with discernment, and I really, really prayed for discernment because I love the tea. But I will say, whether y'all agree or not, I have really great discernment. About
I think you do.
I've literally
about people.
Yeah, there was somebody that I worked with at one point, and I worked with my friend there, and they came in and she was like, for copyright reasons, she was like, "Hi, my name is Sandra," and I was like,
"Not copyright."
And I shook her hand. I go, "Hi, Sandra. It's so nice to meet you. I'm glad you're going to work with us." And our boss was like, she was at my hotel. She worked with us. Blah blah blah. She was great. And without missing a beat, I turned around and looked at my friend. I said, "She's going to give this place more problems than they've ever seen." And she was like, "Well, that was really rude." And I was like, "Not me being a bitch." She faked a back injury. She put Xanax in her Altoid box and would pop one every couple of hours and then would disappear for hours. She tried to soothe him. Well, she just gave him a lot of problems. And she would start rumors about people saying managers were sleeping with people. It was crazy.
Turns out it's Raven.
Y'all are dumb.
That's happened twice where I've shook somebody's hand and I was like, and I knew.
Yeah. Well, child. I will. Back to Hannah Vernon Page. We love y'all.
Love y'all. Last thing about Summer House. What happened with Carl and Lindsay? Because they're calling each other out on social media.
So, yeah, there's so much beef on Instagram with them, but they're going to talk about it next week on the show.
Okay.
And we're going to see, like, the unfolding.
Because I saw some stuff, and I said, I don't know if it's Lindsay chick, but don't mess with my baby Carl.
They're big beefing right now.
Not see in New York. Anyways, once again, thank you to Postinos for sponsoring our video where we reacted to me being on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Yeah. It's over here in the little sidebar, so if you want to watch that, we eat Postinos. Great food.
So good.
And then we watch me on there, and let's just say there's a little surprise.
There is a surprise.
And that's all I'm going to say about that. Second thing, your hair looks very lovely today.
Thank you. My mommy did it.
It's giving like I was at the beach and
So my mom is a hairstylist. So I go home every 6 weeks to get my hair done. So I thought she did a great job. Thank you, Mommy.
I'm trying to get an appointment, but she is booked. So I don't know about all that. I think that's pretty much all I have.
Me too.
Yeah. What about you, Gabe?
That's it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Rewind the Podcast, fresh from New York edition. If you want to listen to other episodes of Rewind the Podcast, you can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you like podcasts. I'm not here to tell you what you like because you know what you like, but hey, guess what? If you want to watch the podcast and see our beautiful faces, you can watch us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and sign up for alerts because things like Blake and Raven finish the title later, are going to be up soon, and we want you to see it first. With all that being said, Raven.
Like Blake said, said, if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave us 5 stars and a review. You can find me on all social media platforms at I Am Raven Dawson.
Gabe.
If you're coming to Nashville for a bachelor or bachelorette, even a birthday, and you don't want to deal with anything, just go to heybatchnash.com. We got you all taken care of. Use code REWIND for 10% off.
And I am chronically online. You can find me anywhere. There's a social media site at Blake Rackley. And with all that being said, we'll see you
next time.
Ta-ta.
Toodles.
New York.
New York. Thanks for listening to Rewind the Podcast.
Rewind the Podcast is a Laurel Street production, hosted by Raven Dawson and Blake Rackley.
Rewind the Podcast is recorded in Nashville, Tennessee, and produced by Gabe Bryant.
Our theme song is Famous Nobodies, performed by Rackley.
Written by Blake Rackley and Matt Pingle, and produced by David Spencer.
To contact Rewind the Podcast about sponsorship, business inquiries, or just to say hey, please email thatrewindpodcast@gmail.com.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.